Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. Just prior to Adventures with Purpose coming out with their report, by the way, it'll be free for everyone to watch in 2 days on September 2nd, I was testing the notion of whether Kylie may have been driving with the window up or down. This was in part because Dorian, a patron, had DM'd me and asked me to investigate it further. Now, because of some recent information I showed during yesterday's live recap, I thought this would be an easy issue to settle or debunk. Why? Because Truckee, California happens to be the coldest place, or one of the coldest, in America, and not in winter, in summer. That's because Truckee is 1,773 meters above sea level, and it turns out the night of August 5th, going into the morning of August 6th, was cold. Before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Like, share, leave a comment, and let's get started. So if you go to the Weather Underground history for Truckee, you can see how the temperature plummets from about 4 p.m. going down towards midnight. At midnight, it's the coldest time of day on the 5th. And the 5th wasn't a terribly hot day in California. The wind also picks up a little bit around about midnight as well. So just after midnight, the temperature plunged south of 57 Fahrenheit, which is about 13 Celsius. Today, where I am, I was driving with the driver's window half open, while it was 18 Celsius or 64 Fahrenheit. And it felt to me like that was the lower limit. I thought if it was any colder than that or any later in the day, I wouldn't have the window open. 13 Celsius isn't a little nippy, it's cold. In 1990, I did a swim in the cold Atlantic waters off Clifton Beach, Cape Town, South Africa, without a wetsuit or swimming cap in water that was said to be 11 degrees. And about an hour later, I had serious hypothermia. It was a race, and although I completed it, I collapsed on the beach and had to be carried off and revived under a piping hot shower. So that should give you an idea that 13 degrees Celsius is cold. 57 Fahrenheit is pretty cold. So I also think the cold may have been another reason. And bear in mind, the temperature plummets, especially between 10 and 12, right? So the cold temperature that night may have also prompted the premature ending or transfer of the party, right? Bear in mind, it was a extremely outdoor party. It wasn't like there was a house with a garden. This was all outdoor. And so your only respite from the cold would be either inside a vehicle or if you were making a fire. And so were there cookouts taking place? That was something that was also mentioned in AWP's report, the possibility that that could have taken place. So in short, I doubt Kylie would have driven with the driver's window down at any time after midnight. Now, Adventures with Purpose have confirmed that when they found the vehicle upside down, the driver's window was intact. The passenger vehicle up front wasn't, which indicates to me that she acted quickly and decisively once entering the water, trying to escape. She would struggle to turn and kick out the driver's side window. You would imagine that it wouldn't be intuitive to try and kick out the driver's window. You might try hitting it with your elbow. But in terms of kicking it out, especially with the steering column partially obstructing that attempt, the steering column would also make it harder to sort of step out the vehicle, right? You would feel like you are kind of trapped in the vehicle if water had to pour, and you've also got to get out from the steering column. But from the driver's side, she would have had more luck, and it would have been quicker and easier to kick out the passenger window. So if she kicked it out, why didn't she live to tell the tale? I don't think it was easy. I don't think the window broke immediately. I don't think on the first kick that the window broke. And I also think by the time it did break, probably a lot of water gushed in. And this is where I think your heart's got to go out to this poor girl, 16 years old, all by herself, in the dark, fighting for her life. and in a way doing quite a good job. She manages to actually break the window. But ask yourself, even if your life depended on it, you've now broken the window, water's gushing in there. Are you now going to approach that torrent? Are you going to approach this water that's flowing in and enter it? Are you going to enter this black water? And, immediately you're in a situation of you can't breathe, you can't see. Or are you going to, is your courage going to fail you? Remember, it's ice cold water. It's streaming in at quite a speed, and you've now got to enter that stream and swim against the stream, against the flow. Would you be brave enough to do that? I'm not sure if I would, and I don't think Kylie did. She then moved to the rear of the vehicle where there was an air pocket, something I've said previously. In theory, so what I've given here is a fairly simple explanation, but in true crime, things are sometimes simple, but seldom easy. Now it turns out the driver's side window was closed, so the reasoning does appear to be sound. The driver's side window was closed and intact, but not the rear passenger window. So why was the rear window half open? I thought there could be two possible reasons for this. The first one, I have a vehicle where the front windows are electric and the rear can be wound down. So I considered the possibility that even if there was electric failure, if the rear windows could be wound down manually, could that explain it? As I say, I've got an older vehicle, it's a 2000 Chrysler, that is front power windows, rear manual. But it turns out the 2013 Honda has power windows front and back. The other possibility is that Kylie had passengers earlier in the day in the rear seat, and they lowered the window slightly, and Kylie simply forgot about it. I often drive with my dog in the vehicle, and I open the rear windows also halfway to let the dog look out. And I sometimes forget about it when I park. I forget that the rear window is half open. Another possibility is that the moment Kylie hit the water, perhaps there was electric power for a few seconds, and she tried to lower the rear window behind her, and when that failed, running out of time, she tried to kick out the passenger window from the position of the driver's seat. Still, another possibility is that during the party, when the girls returned to the vehicle to drink, to charge their phones and whatnot, one of them may have gotten into the back and then opened the window to talk to someone standing outside. In AWP's video, there's also been a suggestion that Kylie's vehicle and Kylie was seen on August 7th. So remember, she disappeared August 6th, very early in the morning on August 6th. Now there's been a suggestion that she was seen on August 7th. This would indicate that the vehicle was dumped into the reservoir and that there was foul play. But the same witness can't be sure if he saw her on August 7th or August 5th. I want you guys to take note of, bear in mind, we don't have absolute information at this point. I want you guys to bear in mind which channels continue to push the foul play / homicide / murder hypothesis, and those which continue to say, I think this could be an accident. I think this looks like it's an accident. Bear in mind, this case has been investigated by the traffic authorities. Bear in mind, the sheriffs have interviewed Nick, this guy who came across Kylie, and someone that was in the car with her, but they've referred the investigation to the California Highway Patrol. And there's no mention of homicide detectives or anything like that. So just consider that as our investigation proceeds. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.